Hey everybody, welcome to my channel. I have a cute mini bulletin board to share with you today. This project was inspired by Annette Green. I'll put a link to her project below, but she used a cork board and a school themed paper and Graphic 45 products to make her board. And I've made mine from scratch, and I do have a tutorial, so if you keep watching you can make one of your own. So this board only measures 5¼ by 10 inches tall, not including the ribbon hanger that I have here and the little tag book that is on the bottom. I've covered front and back with the absolutely darling design paper, and it was this paper that inspired me to make a bug in the jar themed project. So the paper I used was from Michaels, and it is this Sweetwater Eau Douce, and it has beautiful florals and watercolor designs, and of course all the insects on the paper. Um, so I've decorated the sides here with some of the cutouts from the paper and these cute little dots from Hobby Lobby. I just think this turned out so cute. And then on the top of the box here I have a little tiny butterfly net that I made from scratch. I used a tutorial that I found on YouTube, and it was for a full-sized real-life butterfly net. I just sized mine down and used this netting from Hobby Lobby and some gold jewelry wire and an 1/8" wooden dowel. I spray painted the handle with the gold paint, and I just love how that came out. I've got the little bugs in here. So cute. And of course, you have to have a real life bug in the jar. Well, not exactly real life, but close enough. So I've got this little tiny jar here, and it's got this cheesecloth over the lid with one of those little hair bands that you get at the grocery store or whatever. And then it's just filled on the bottom with a little bit of sequin mix and a couple if you can see that, a couple little of the fussy cut insects. So I just think that came out super cute, and I just love the theme. I think it's so fun. I decided to use a dry erase. I got a piece of something on my board. I decided to use a dry erase magnetic sheet for my board. I just mounted it onto some chipboard, and it's got that trim that you get at the fabric store. That I don't know what it's called, but anyway, I just think that's is a really fun idea. And then I just use those acrylic dots to create some magnets here. This little insect here is fussy cut and adhered to a magnetic sheet, and so he just kind of stays right there. And anyway, just came out super cute. I think this will be a fun idea for a project board, so I can put my little ideas for my next project on the board. I can use the little drawer here. You can see I've lined it with paper on the inside. I can use this drawer to stick all of my ephemera that I'm collecting for my next project. If you're like me, you're working on a project, and before you finish you have an idea for the next one. So this will be just a nice place to keep a lot of the small embellishments and things that I'm collecting for my project. I have a cute little tag here that I made, another little tiny jar, and a little piece of ephemera here. So, and then I have some shaker mix here, and I'll show you more of that in just a minute. So all of this can fit in the drawer, and then on the hanger here I can hang sticker sheets or ephemera packages on a little notebook ring, just keeping all of that in place. I can hang the ribbons and lace from here. So anyway, it's just a fun idea for a project board. Now when I'm not using it as a project board, I'm going to be hanging these little tags here, and keeping with the bug in the jar theme, I made this little jar shaker, and it has the little bugs inside on the back, and the ones on the top here. And isn't the sequin mix pretty? I think it just came out really fun. Little flowers are from Hobby Lobby. I got the gold foil paper at Hobby Lobby as well. um, just a little label cut out from the paper. I've edged all the papers with the gold thread. I think it added a nice touch. This is punched out from the paper, a little journaling space on the back, and this little tag can have a note or a picture, and it's just a little window on the back. So cute. And another little bug in the jar. And then this is just punched out from one of the journaling cards and a little tuck spot on the back. So I just think this came out super, super fun. When I'm not using it for a project, I can decide to put a picture on here, and I made a little photo mat with one of the journaling cards, and so this will just fit right here, and I can put the picture of my granddaughter holding a little butterfly right there. I just took it this weekend. We went to a butterfly conservatory, and she absolutely loves insects. She's not afraid of them at all. And so, you know, her little picture is just going to go right there when I'm not using the board for my next project. I've decided to make this little bead tangle. I just love the way it came out. It's so fun, and so I love these pastel colors. No two little charm is the same. I even made some cute little pom-pom charms here. I've never made those before, so that was really fun and easy to do. But anyway, just so very pretty. And then, oh my gosh, I lucked out. I found these pastel ladybugs at Amazon, and I'll put a link to those below as well. I mean, just too cute, right? And so this whole thing will just clip onto my board. And then I'm entertaining the idea of using the other side of this bulldog clip to hold a dry erase marker. So I've got to figure out how I'm going to do that, how to attach the marker to some string or something like that. Anyways, that is my fun little board project, and I have a few ideas. Oh, let me show you my little greeting card first too. I made a little greeting card with one of the journaling cut aparts, so just came out super, super cute. Very simple, but very pretty. Made the little envelope with my envelope punch board. And so anyway, I think that came out really fun. So anyway, some ideas, like I said, Annette used a school theme paper, so you could put little treats for your student, put little school notes up here, hang a little project from here. This could be a Christmas advent. The little candies can be inside here for each day. You can make cute little photo mats with the day of the month on here. It could be a Halloween countdown with little candies inside, or just little fun projects to make. Let's see. Oh, it can be a little kitchen board. We're going to write the menu on the top here, hold some recipe cards in here, hang a little set of cute measuring spoons from the bottom here, or hang them from the side here instead of a bead dangle. I mean, there's just so many cute possibilities with this project. So I hope that inspires you. I hope you give it a try. And so if you like this, please give me a thumbs up. That would be really appreciated. And don't forget to hit that notification bell so you can join me for my upcoming projects. Thanks for watching, and now we'll go on to the tutorial. So the first thing that we're going to do is build the shelf or the base for our drawer, and you're going to need a piece of cardstock that is 10 3/4 by 9 1/2, and it doesn't have to be super duper heavy duty like 110. It could be something a lighter weight. We're going to be using chipboard to build it up, so it doesn't have to be super, super heavy. So anyway, we're going to score each side at 1/2 inch and 3 inches. And so I've gone ahead and already scored this one. And so I'm going to set this aside here. So on your score lines, you have these little squares on the corners, and outside of there you have that 1/2 inch border. And so we're just going to cut the border around the squares. And so I'll just cut this first one, and then you'll be able to see what I'm doing. So I'm just cutting up to that 1/2 inch score line here. And I can barely see it myself. Okay, so just gonna cut. And didn't quite get it. There we go. And then we're gonna cut along that 1/2 inch score line here. And so you can see here I've cut that 1/2 inch border all the way around this outer part of the square. And so I'm going to do that on all 4 sides. Okay, so these tabs here are what's going to fold over our base or the box that we're creating. And so I went ahead and angled these tabs here, and then now I need to make the tabs that fold our box, and so I think I'm going to do it pinwheel style. So I'm just going to cut the left side of each of these corner squares up to the 3-inch score line. So I'm just going to turn it like this and cut that left side. Okay, so now I don't need such large tabs to fold my box, so I'm just going to trim them down so it's just not quite so bulky. And so I'm probably going to cut this just about in half, I think. And then just go ahead and angle that a bit. Okay, so now I'm just going to burnish all the folds, and then we can start gluing it together. So I like to flip it over and burnish it on the side that has the ridges. I think it's easier to cut on the side that has the groove from the scoring, and then I think it's easier to fold it on the side that has the ridges. Okay, so now it's ready to start gluing together. Okay, so now I'm going to take these tabs and fold them up to form our box or the base of our shelf. And so I'm going to go ahead and glue mine on the outside. I'm just going to like that nice finished corner there. And because I'm going to cover almost the entire thing with design paper, it really doesn't matter. I'm going to come as close to the edges as I can with my design paper. Because of that, this tab will be covered up, and then I'll have a nice finished corner here. Oops, I think I forgot to burnish this particular fold. There we go. If you wanted to do an offset with your paper, like say you wanted to have it offset like that, that would be fine too. Just go ahead and glue your tabs on the inside. So it really doesn't matter, whichever way you prefer. Okay, so now we need to build up the sides to make it nice and sturdy, and so you're going to need some medium weight chipboard pieces. and you're going to cut all of them at 2.5 inches tall, and then you're going to cut 2 of them at 3.5 inches wide. And then I covered all of them on one side with the cardstock paper. And then these are also 2.5 inches tall, and these are I forgot how wide they are, 4 3/4 wide. And all of these will probably have to be trimmed on the edge here just a little bit to fit in. It's just better, in my opinion, to cut them, you know, a little bit long and just trim as I go rather than cut them all too short. So anyway, so I think I'm going to do the end pieces first. And so I'm just going to make sure that you do a dry fit before you actually glue anything down. And I just want to make sure that this it fits to the edge of the corners there, and it's flush to the bottom as much as it can be. I don't want this top piece coming over the score line, but I don't want it to be so tight that my box is going to bulge. So that one looks like it's fitting pretty well. Now this one is a little long. It's just poking through that corner a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and trim that one down. Okay, now I've got all 4 sides in, and you can see there's hardly any gaps in the corners. And so it's just a nice and tight fit, and everything's really sturdy. And this part here is going to be glued to the backing board, so I didn't really feel the need to put any chipboard inside here on the bottom. And so now all we have to do is fold over the tabs on the top here. And I'm going to put a little bit of glue. Well, first of all, before I glue, I think I'm going to fold these over and make sure there's a nice crease where that chipboard is. Alright, so now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add glue to the top edge of that chipboard. Let that dry a minute because I've got a little bit too much glue on that one side. Kind of came out too fast. Okay, so now we have the shelf and casing for our drawer. And all right, so now we're going to make the drawer, and I made this one here as as a experiment to make sure my measurements were correct, and it's not quite finished yet, but I kind of like the two-tone, so I might think about using the green instead of the blue inside there, but we'll see. Anyway, you can see how a nice snug fit it is, and yet it's still gonna slide in and out okay. And so because of that, we don't want to put anything on the outside of the box or on the bottom. The only place we're going to be putting design paper is on the very front. And so you're going to need a piece of paper that is 11 3/4 by 9 3/4. Then you're going to score at 3/8 and 3 5/8, all four sides. So that's 3/8 by 3 5/8. And basically we're going to do the exact same thing that we did on the last one. You're going to cut it the same way. You're going to cut these little strips off the corner. You're going to pinwheel the squares on the corners, and you're going to angle and trim your tabs just like we did before. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and I'll be back. All right, so everything's cut and folded, and you can see here that on the corner tabs, I've cut them a lot more than just halfway. Because this box is taller, I really just don't need that much tabs sticking out. So anyway, so now I'm ready to glue, and this is where I'm doing things a little bit different. I'm going to be gluing the tabs on the inside of the box, and it's really important that you do it on the inside because we don't want anything on the outside of the box to impede that box from sliding in and out of the drawer. Okay, so for this one we're going to need to reinforce the bottom as well. So you're going to need to cut a piece of chipboard that is 2.5 by 4.5. And of course, make sure you do a dry fit before you actually glue it in. And so I've tested this one, it fits pretty good. So I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit of glue. I don't need to add a lot of glue because just everything, the way it's going to fit so tight in there, and then with the sides on top of it, it's really not going to go anywhere. Okay, so I'm going to put the end pieces in first, just like I did before. And all of the side pieces are going to be 3 1/8 inches tall. And the ends are 2.5 inches wide, and the sides are 4.5 inches wide. But by the time I get the end pieces in first, I will have to trim the side pieces down to fit just like I did before. So I've added the remaining sides, and I went ahead and folded those top tabs over just as we did before. And so now my drawer fits perfectly inside here, and so now all I have to do is decorate. Okay, to make the back piece, what I've done is I've cut 2 pieces of the medium weight chipboard at 5 1/4 by 10, and I've glued them together. And then I went ahead and added a sheet of score tape on the back, and I burnished it down really, really well. And the reason I decided to use the score tape was because I really just don't want that paper bubbling on the back. I don't want the weight of the drawer when I pull it open and shut to pull on that paper and create a bubble, or have the paper come off the backing board somehow. So I just really want that to stick really well. If you do use glue, I would use a really good strong craft glue, and make sure that you have full coverage over your board, and get that paper glued on really, really well. So the paper I've cut it's 12 inches wide, and then I've cut it to 7 1/4. And then I scored 1 inch on the long side and the short side. That'll just help me be able to line this up to get it where it needs to be. And I'm just going to be wrapping the chipboard. So I'm just going to trim the corners, and I try to trim about, oh, an 1/8 inch away from that corner. Kind of, if you've ever made a wrapped an album cover, it's kind of the same idea. Um, and I'm going to tape the ends of the chipboard. And I'm just going to fold it over to give it some memory. I just really want that to be a nice fit. So I'm pressing down and then just pressing that over. So I'm just going to go ahead and fold one side over. And then I'll get this other side. And then for these corners here, I want that little bit of paper sticking out from the corner here. I'm just going to push it in with my bone folder. Might need to use this edge. Okay. Okay, then I'm just going to cut a piece of cardstock that is oh, about 5 1/8 by 9 7/8, and I'm just going to glue that to the back. Okay, so once I have that, then I will be ready to and then I'm going to decorate this decorate all these pieces before I glue this to the board. Hey everybody, I just wanted to go over a couple little things before I finish my project. And you can see that I've completed decorating my chipboard backing with the design paper front and back. And one thing I did want to mention though, if you're going to do something like this with, you're going to be punching holes through your board, you want to do that once you've covered it with the cardstock. And if you cover it with design paper, you'll find out the hard way, like I did, that your Crop-A-Tile will not fit over that many layers. I couldn't squeeze it over to punch my holes, and that was before I put these layered pieces on. Again, you can use any type of hanging that you like. You can, do a ribbon like this. You can use chain. You can use some kind of a framing hook, a metal piece that goes on the back. You can use magnets, so it'll be a magnet board. If you do that, it's really heavy. You're going to have to use really heavy magnet to hang, to do that type of a hanging. On the same thing with your bulletin board. You can use the cardboard, like I mentioned before. If you're able to cut some kind of metal magnetic sheet, maybe something that looks very farmhouse or something, as long as it has finished edges, so nobody's cutting themselves. You could do that. This is a dry erase magnetic sheet that I've cut to 4 1/8 by 4 1/8. And then, but any type of something that's magnetic you can use if it fits your design aesthetics. So get creative with that. And then I finished the outside of, well, almost finished the outside of my drawer here. I went ahead and covered everything with the design paper. This part's going to be glued onto the back. And I'm not going to, like I mentioned before, I'm not going to be covering this with any design paper because the drawer needs to slide in and out of there. Use a really, really strong glue so that this doesn't get pulled off. The same thing with your paper here. You want this paper to be really glued down really, really well so that nothing keeps pulling apart as you're opening and closing the drawer. But just make sure that this paper here is glued down really, really well, burnished it down really well. You just don't want that paper buckling while the rest of the paper on the edges is still secure, but you got this big bubble that's pulling out when you pull your pull. And the reason I say that is because that's happened to me before. Okay, I did something and yeah, I got this big bubble underneath there because the glue didn't stick, didn't adhere forever, and was a big problem. I wanted to talk a little bit about different pull alternatives for your drawer. So you don't have to go out and buy anything like this unless you want to, but you could use something like this little doorknob that you can just glue on the middle. If you have a button that's kind of shaped like this that you can really grab onto, you could just sew the button through all these different layers and then cover your strings in the back with some design paper on the inside here. Maybe you are doing some kind of a nautical theme and you want like kind of a rope handle, so something kind of like this where you tie the knots on the other side. So you just would punch your holes and pull that rope through all of your design paper in the box. And then I would suggest that you already have your design paper here and then just tie your knots on the inside there and have a cute little rope pull. I mean, there's just so many ideas that you could do. I did want to show you this ribbon pull that I made. So if you're doing something really cute or really shabby or vintage, maybe you could do a ribbon pull. Now in this one, I made my ribbon loop too small. I don't know if I accidentally pulled it too tight on the other side when I was doing it or what, but it's just really hard to grip because it's so tiny. So you want to make your loop a bit bigger than this one. Okay, just make sure you test it out and make sure you can get a good pull on it. You can maybe even tie a little string or a jump ring and have a little bead dangle hanging from that loop. I don't know, there's just so many different things that you can do, and I just didn't want you to feel like you had to run out and buy any hardware. Okay, so I went ahead and purchased some stainless steel command hooks, and then I just spray painted one in gold and attached it here to the bottom of the backing board with very, very strong glue. And so you can use something like this. Annette Green, in her video, she used a graphic 45 key that she was able to bend up into a hook. But anyway, just whatever you have to make a little hanger here on the bottom would work. And then for the magnets, I just got these magnet discs at Michael's. I spray painted them in gold paint, and then I glued on these flat back pearls, and then they were a little too weak to stay on the board, so I went ahead and added a stronger magnet on the bottom. So that's how I made those. And then I just add a magnet to the back of this flower. So I have my little magnets for my magnet board. All right, so that's it for my tutorial. I hope you were inspired, and if you do have any questions or concerns about making your bulletin board, I hope you let me know in the comments below. And other than that, you guys have a great crafting day. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up and hit that notification bell so you can join me for my upcoming videos. Thanks for watching. Bye.